We're going to get started on hands and knees, a tabletop posture. So come forward to position your wrists directly underneath your shoulders and your knees directly underneath your hips. Now we're going to tent up the right fingertips. What I mean is, if this is the ground, you're going to tent up your fingers like a spider. So as your left hand is planted and you'll tent up your right fingertips, tuck your toes, dip the navel and lift your chest. Pause here in the cow posture. Now you're going to keep your fingers just as they are. Untuck toes, round in the spine, come into cat. Tuck your toes, dip the navel, inhale, rise in your chest up. Untuck toes, round, exhale into cat. One more time, tuck your toes, breathe in, lift in your chest. Widen and sit bones. Untuck toes, breathe out, cat. Keep your toes untucked. Plant your right hand to the ground. Tent up your left fingertips, spider in your hands. Tuck toes, breathe in, lift your chest, cow. Untuck toes, round, cat. Tuck your toes, breathe in, lift in your chest, look up. Untuck toes, exhale, cat. Final round, tuck toes, breathe in, look up. Breathe out, untuck toes, round. Create that arch in the spine. Keep your toes untucked. Plant your hands firmly to the floor. You're going to lift your right hand in a hover of your fingertips, and you're going to turn your fingers away from you and then towards your body, and then you'll gently release your hand down. Now, in my physical body, I need to bring my knees just a little bit more closer to my fingertips. And then doing the same with the left, pick the hand up, turn the fingers in towards you, and we'll pause here. If you want to feel a little bit more, you can shift your hips back behind the knees. Now, if you haven't already begun the Ujjayi breath, breathe in and out through your nose only. Like a valve has closed at the back of your throat. You want to hear a sound on both the breath in and the breath out. Now, if you've shifted slightly back, come forward. Lift one hand up at a time to turn your fingers back forward. Now walk your hands in. I'll turn to face you. You're going to bring the backs of your hand into your armpits, and your elbows will come towards the ground. I guess this can be considered the top of your hands. We're finding ourselves in a counter pose. And then go ahead and release and shake it out. As you're back onto the hands and knees, let your knees come out a little bit wider than hip distance. And with your left hand down, you can position a little bit more in towards the mid-mat if that's comfortable. Right arm will rise up. Now, as you press into your left hand, there's space between your ear and shoulder. Stay here and just burst your hand open and then create a soft fist. Burst your hand open, splay out in the fingers, and then exhale a soft fist. One more time, inhale to open and exhale to close. Open your hand, spin the chest open. We're going to thread the needle. Right arm underneath the left, just hover your ear and outer shoulder. And then press up and reach your right arm up to the ceiling, inhale. And do that again, thread your right arm underneath the left, hover your ear and outer shoulder. One more time, inhale, rotate your chest up, reach up. This time, thread the arm under and then release your outer shoulder and the side of your head to the ground. So as you release your right side, slightly tuck your chin in towards your chest. You can keep your left hand as it is, or you can crawl it forward like a spider and stay on your tented fingertips as your wrist is in line with the shoulder. You may also find option a half bind, rising your left arm up, palm would face behind you, and then you can bend at the elbow to bring your fingers towards your top right upper thigh. Chin dips slightly in towards your chest. And then come to bring your left hand to the ground. We're just going to press right back into all fours. So rise up, right wrist underneath the shoulder. You can position your hand slightly in towards the mid-mat if that helps you to stay balanced. Right hand down, left arm up. So pull from your waist to the crown of your head forward. So there's length in the spine. Bursting the hand open. Stay here and just softly close in your fist. Inhale, open, and exhale, close. One more time, burst it open and close the fist. Now open and rotate the chest up, thread the left arm underneath the right, hover your ear and outer shoulder. Inhale, open in the chest, reach back up to ceiling, and then exhale, thread. One more time, inhale. This time thread it under, hold, releasing the outer shoulder and head to ground. Find the placement of your right hand. Either keep where it is, crawl it forward, or find your half bind. Your hips are staying over the knees. Now go ahead and bring your hand back. Wrist under shoulder, come back onto your hands and knees. Bring your knees underneath your hips, coming into puppy pose. You're going to keep your hips over the knees and scoop your tailbone up to feel that widening of sit bones. You'll crawl your hands forward and you'll begin to bring your chest down towards the ground, releasing your forehead to the floor. Today I want to share with you the Book of Joy. It's with His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, the Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and it's written by Douglas Abrams. The Dalai Lama, he says there's one great question that underlies our existence. What is the purpose of life? He says, after much consideration, I believe that the purpose of life is to find happiness. From the moment of birth, he says, every human being wants to discover happiness and avoid suffering. There's no differences in our culture or our education or our religion that affect this. From the very core of our being, we simply desire joy and contentment. But so often these feelings are fleeting and hard to find. Go ahead and come to walk your hands into tabletop. Child's pose, knees come out wide, big toes touch, hips to heels. Turn your palms to face up as you release your forehead to ground. Or you're always more than welcome to use a block if you need to bring the ground closer to you. Sadly, many of the things that undermine our joy and happiness, we create ourselves. It comes from the negative tendencies of the mind, emotional reactivity. The Dalai Lama, he says, we create most of our suffering. So it should be logical that we also have the ability to create more joy. It depends on attitude, on perspective, and the reactions that you bring to situations. The ultimate source of happiness, it's within. So today in this practice, I'm going to be sharing 4 qualities of the mind that's intended to help reduce fear and other obstacles towards joy. Because when it comes to personal happiness, there is a lot as an individual that you can do. Turn your palms to face down. Rise up onto your hands and knees, a tabletop posture. Bring your knees underneath your hips, your wrists under shoulders. Solid in your fingers, really space them out so there's equal yoga mat in between. Your pointer fingers are at 12 o'clock. Your thumbs, feel them being drawn in towards one another. Bring your knees back a little bit behind your hips. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Lift your hip creases up and back. Begin to just pedal out your feet, walking out your dog, finding some organic movement. And as you're going to come to pause and center, lift your right leg up high, and then come to step your right foot to the outer of your right hand, positioning yourself in a low lunge. So the back heel is lifted. With your left hand down, rise your right arm up, coming into a dragonfly twist. Space between your left ear and shoulder. I'll turn to face you. What you're going to do is take a breath in, and then you're going to bring your hand towards the ground. Breathe out. And you'll travel it back up. Inhale, rotate your chest up, reach up, and then breathe out. Travel your hand the same way it just came. Brush fingertips to floor. One more time. Inhale into this low lunge twist, and breathe out. Plant your hand down. Go ahead and come to step back into a plank position. So in a high push-up, you have the option to release down onto your knees. Shift forward. First time around, lower all the way to the floor. Now, as you come to lower to the ground, flipping your feet over, toenails to floor, you're going to bring your hands off of your mat, tent up your fingertips. Point your elbows up towards the ceiling. Press into your toenails. Inhale, lift your chest up center. And breathe out, lower your chest down. Lift up, look over your right shoulder. And slowly come back forward, center, and down. Lift up, look over your left shoulder. And forward, center, down. Come back to lift up, center, press down into your toenails. And lower down. Lift, look over your right shoulder. And center, forward, down. Lift up, look over your left. And come back, center. Now rest your hands directly underneath your shoulders. For those of you that are new to practicing yoga, you're going to come into a baby cobra. Press into your toenails, shrug your shoulders up your ears, down the back, and lift in your chest. With little to no weight in your hands, you're hovering in the palms. Your elbows are going to hug in. Now, as a new practitioner, I'd advise you to stay here. I will be speaking to an up dog, which you're also more than welcome to take. You'll pay attention to the needs of the moment and follow cues for your own direction. Stay here, inhale, lower chest. Come up onto all fours just to show you as a transition. Downward facing dog, press your hips up and back. Lift your left leg up to a one-legged down dog. Step your left foot to the outer of your hand. Right hand down, left arm up. So a pull from your waist to the crown of your head. Take an inhale, and then bring your hand towards the ground. Exhale. Lift the arm up, spin the chest open. Breathe out, settle your hand to floor. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Now tent up your fingers, look forward. Step your right foot to the top of your mat. Your feet hip distance apart. 2 fists could fit in between your feet. Hang in ragdoll. Let your arms drape heavy, or bring your hands to the opposite elbows. You can shake out your head, you can cradle side to side, but there's no muscular effort in your upper body. Whereas in your lower body, your sit bones are lifted up. Slight bend in the knees so you can feel this stretch in your hamstrings. Come to release your hands, and slowly, one vertebrae at a time, begin to rise all the way up to a stand. Circle your arms over your head to reach up, heels pressed down, and then go ahead and bring your hands to your heart center. Pause here for a silent om to yourself. Take a full breath in. Now, as you're going to flutter your eyes open, you'll release your hands down by your sides. Reach your arms over your head. Now, grab a hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Lift up and tilt to your right. Press to the outer edge of the left pinky side of your toe into the ground. Now, come up to the center, switch wrists, and tilt over to your left. Now, as you press down through the feet, feel your kneecaps come up towards your pelvic floor. Now, you're going to come to rise up to the center. You're going to release the wrist. We're going to swan dive. Your arms are going to extend out from your midline. You'll look forward, keep lengthen the spine, and then hinge all the way down, wrapping your hands behind your legs. Or you can slide a hand up to your calf. Your variation of a forward fold, where your brain comes down, but your sit bones are up. Now come to find your variation of a halfway lift. Option to slide your palms to shins and look forward. So as your chest becomes parallel to the ground, you want to look just a bit ahead so that the neck is neutral to your spine. Your shoulders shrug in and down the back. Take a full breath in. Plant your hands to the ground. Step your left foot to the back of your mat and walk your hands in. You might have to tent up your fingers to frame your right foot. Back heel is lifted. A pull from your waist to the crown of your head forward. Now lightly release your left knee down with your toes, back toes curled. Arms rise up, modified crescent lunge. Space out in your fingers, rotate the pinkies in and your thumbs out. Take a full breath in, and then your palms can join, hinge at the hips, plant your hands to the floor, big hands. Step back into a high push-up. You always have the option to come to step back to all fours. Shift forward, breathe in. Now your choice, lower all the way or halfway down, breathe out. Up dog or baby, cobra, inhale. Press your hips back, downward facing dog, exhale. Lift your left leg up high, toes flex to floor, and then step all the way through in between your hands. Pause in a low lunge. Walking your hands in to frame the foot. Feel the length in the back of your leg. Your heel is back while the crown of your head comes forward. Now lightly release your right knee down with your toes curled under. Arms up, modified crescent lunge. Soften your gaze. Set your eyes to a point on the ground or somewhere in front of you. Take a full breath in, hands to the ground, step forward, feet hip distance, top of the mat into a forward fold. Palms to shins or fingertips to floor, halfway lift. Fold, exhale forward. One breath, rise to stand. Stay standing, bring your hands to heart, breathe out. Release your arms, reach overhead, inhale. Grab a hold of your left wrist, tilt to your right, exhale. Come through to the center, breathe in. Switch wrists, left, breathe out. Come through to the center, inhale. Swan dive forward, exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Hands to the ground, step your right foot to the back of your mat, pause in a low lunge. If you have blocks at home, you can always use them to frame your front foot here. Stay here and then lightly release your knee to the floor. Arms up, modified crescent lunge. Pull your floating ribs in. Feel this kind of tuck of the tailbone under as you zip the belly up and in towards the spine. Take a full breath in. Plant your hands to the ground. Step back into a plank position. Breathe out. Come forward, inhale. Lower all the way or halfway, exhale. Flip the feet, heart forward, legs back, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Lift your right leg up high. Step your right foot all the way through. Pause in a low lunge. Lightly release the left knee to floor. Arms up, modified crescent lunge. Take a full breath in. Plant your hands to the ground, top of the mat, forward fold, feet hip distance apart. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Stand up, breathe in. Hands to heart, breathe out. Reach overhead, inhale. Grab a hold of your left wrist, right, exhale. Back to center, breathe in. Switch wrists, left, breathe out. Come through to the center. Breathe out, swan dive forward. Breathe in, halfway lift. Hands to ground, left foot steps to the back. Low lunge, stay here, inhale. Gently release your left knee, exhale. Arms up, modified crescent. Hands to the ground, plank, high push-up. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, lower elbows into ribs. Up dog or baby, cobra. Downward facing dog. Left leg to ceiling, inhale. Step all the way through, low lunge, exhale. Stay here for your breath in. Release the right knee, breathe out. Arms up, modified crescent. Hands to the ground, top of your mat, forward fold, feet hip distance. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold, exhale. Stand up, reach. Hands to heart, empty. Release the arms, circle overhead. Grab left wrist, take it to your right. Back to the center. Switch wrists, left. Center, inhale. Swan dive forward, exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Right foot steps to the back of the mat, low lunge. Stay for your inhale. Release your knee, exhale. Arms up, modified crescent. Hands to the ground, high push-up. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, your back bend of choice. Downward facing dog. Right leg lifts, inhale. Step all the way through, exhale. Tented fingers, breathe in. Release the left knee, breathe out. Arms up, modified crescent. Hands to the ground, top of the mat, forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. One breath, rise to stand. Palms join, hands to heart. Reach up, fill up. Left wrist, right. Center, switch, left. Back to the center. Swan dive forward. This time, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step back to a high push-up. Inhale, forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Gently release down to your hands and your knees. Child's pose. Knees out wide. Big toes touch, hips to heels, forehead to ground. This practice of yoga helps you to steady your mind and to concentrate. The first quality of mental immunity to help you experience more joy is perspective. This idea of widening perspective. It involves stepping back within your own mind to move beyond your limited self-awareness and limited self-interest. But stress can make it hard to step back and see other perspectives and solutions, and this is natural. Yoga helps to reduce stress, to see past confusion. We learn here so that off of the four corners of the mat, we can become skillful to handle any situation. This practice, it provides a complete and a holistic view of reality. And when this happens, you're able to respond to life more constructively. As you breathe in and out through your nose only, I want you to tap in and become aware of your consciousness inside. Awareness. And then allow your consciousness to expand beyond your body a bit in all directions. Let your consciousness expand to include the objects in your room as you travel to the four corners of it. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. And come to rise up onto your hands and your knees. Tabletop posture, wrists under shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Solid in your fingers. Lift your hip creases up and back. Now bring your big toes together to touch. Lift your right leg up high. And then come to step your right foot all the way through in between your hands. Align your right knee directly over your ankle and keep your back heel lifted. So preparing for crescent lunge, the right knee is over the ankle and it's going to aim the knee to your second or third toe. Your back heel is extended. Feel your whole back leg lift up towards the ceiling. You can, for this first round, bring your hands onto your knee, rising up, or use your core strength to rise your arms up. Release your shoulders down. Set your eyes to a point and breathe. Now stay with your lower body and just rest your hands to your heart. You're going to keep your palms together. Straighten your right leg and reach up to the ceiling. Muscles are felt coming up from your feet. Now we're going to come to bring the hands to heart. Bend the right knee, but as well bend your left knee so you're hovering your left knee to the ground. Let's do that again. Straighten both legs. Inhale, reach up. Bend the knees, hovering the back knee, hands to heart. One more time. Straighten, inhale, reach up. Bend the knees, hands to heart. Now straighten your leg, breathe in, reach up. You're going to bend the knee, hinge at your hips, plant your hands to the ground, feet to the top of the mat. Feet can be hip distance or big toes together, your choice. Chair pose, bend your knees, rise your arms up. Weight shifts to your heels. Really fire up your breath. Take a full breath in, palms join, hinge at your hips, fold forward, breathe out. Halfway lift, inhale. This time you're gonna plant your hands, step back to a high push-up all fours, your choice. You're gonna lower with that exhale down. Up dog or baby, cobra, and into downward facing dog. Left leg lifts, extend from your hip through heel, and then step all the way through. Back heel lifted, so just feel this foundation first in this low lunge. When you're ready, rise your arms up, crescent lunge. The second quality of the mind to build mental immunity is humility. Bring your hands to your heart. Straighten your legs and reach up. Go ahead and bring your hands to heart. Bend the knees. Straighten the legs. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to heart. One more time. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Straighten the leg, reach up, inhale. Bend now just that front knee. Hinge at the hips, plant your hands to ground, top of the mat. Feet to the top. I'm personally doing mine hip distance, chair pose. I think it just helps in stabilizing at the top of the mat in this shape. We're in this together. Take a full breath in, fold forward, breathe out. Halfway lift, inhale, hands to the ground, step back, shift forward, lower. Up dog or baby, cobra. Downward, facing dog. Right leg lifts, inhale. Step all the way through, knee over ankle, back heel lifted. Crescent lunge, rise. Hands to heart, empty. Palms stay together, straighten the leg, inhale, reach up. Hover the back knee, find the knees bent, hands to heart. Straighten the leg, inhale, reach up. This time bend just that front knee, hinge at the hips, hands to ground, top of the mat, forward fold. Chair pose, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Hands to floor, step back, ride your breath high to low. Inhale, chest forward, legs are back. Downward, facing dog. Left leg lifts, breathe in. Step through your hands, breathe out. Crescent lunge, inhale. Hands to heart, exhale. Straighten the leg, reach up. Bend the knees, hands to heart. Straighten the leg, inhale, reach up. Bend just the front knee, hinge at the hips, hands to ground, forward fold at the top. Chair pose, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Hands to ground, step back, high to low. Inhale up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts, breathe in. Step all the way through, breathe out. Crescent lunge, rise. Hands to heart, empty. Straighten the leg, inhale, reach up. This time bend the right knee, come into a prayer twist to your right. Hook your elbow, left elbow to the outer of your right thigh. So there's a pull from your waist to the crown of your head forward. Extend through your heel back. Breathe. Stay here and just open your arms up like wings. Right fingertips up, left fingertips down. Take a breath in. We're going to come into warrior two, so you can dip that right hand, pivot the left foot, left arm back, right arm forward. So we have his heel to arch alignment. Knee, right knee to the second or third toe. Fingertips forward and back. Draw your shoulder blades in. Now reach forward and find extended side angle. Forearm to thigh, left arm overhead. If there's another variation you want to do to explore this shape, you may. You want to bring your left shoulder and upper ribs back. Your neck is comfortable for your own body. Now you're going to come up and straighten in your right leg, arms out as a T. Turn your right toes in so your feet are parallel. Hinge at your hips. Fold all the way forward and down. Yogi's choice, you can turn your toes in, heels out, and grab the outer of your legs, your ankles, your shins. You're bringing your head down while your sit bones are up. Humility. It's this recognition that as human beings, we can't solve everything or control all aspects of life. We need others. And we know this because we have vulnerabilities and limitations. These are reminders that we need one another. We're created for mutual support. Whatever you're going through in life, or even in this practice today, somewhere, someone will describe it in this very same way. Humility is the second quality of the mind to help you in building mental immunity. These positive qualities of the mind that allows you to experience more joy and less fear and anger. Go ahead and come into a halfway lift. You're going to walk to the top of your mat to your right foot. Turn your right toes forward and pop up your back heel. You're going to lightly release your left knee to the ground and bring your right hand to the inside of the foot. So both hands rest to the inside of your foot. You're going to toe heel your foot out to the right, outer edge of your mat. And then with your left toes curled under, you're going to lift your left knee and just slide it back, releasing your knee to floor. And just come side to side, moving the hips left to right. And as you do that, your right knee is going to fall out to the side, exposing the sole of your foot. I don't know about you, but I've definitely built up a sweat. It's summer here in Australia. It is quite humid. We're going to come to pause in the center. Now keep the bottom of your right foot exposed. So you're on the knife edge of the foot, your right knee is falling over to the right. Bring your left hand to the top left corner of your mat. With your right hand, you're going to bring it to the inside of the leg. And we're going to create length and then rotate to look back. So we're not dumping into the left shoulder. And every breath out, you're gazing back, gently pressing into the inner of your right thigh. And take one more breath in. Stay here for the rotation. Breathe out. Go ahead and come back to the center. Plant your hand and plant your right foot to the floor. Go ahead and come to your hands and knees, tabletop posture. Shift forward, inhale, lower all the way to the ground. As you lower to the ground, you'll prepare for Sphinx pose. So you're going to come to rise up onto your elbows. Your elbows are hugging in towards your midline. Your forearms are parallel to one another. Your legs, as they extend back, are relaxed. And then begin to relax and soften in your shoulders and your heart. You can let your chin fall down towards your chest. What did the yogi tell the door-to-door salesperson who came to his house selling vacuum cleaners? Too many attachments. It said that laughter is the most direct line between any two people. to laugh about our shared humanity and shared vulnerabilities. Reminds us of our humility. Because life is hard, and laughter is how we come to terms with all of the ironies and the cruelties and the uncertainties that we face. Humor is the third quality of the mind. And when you start looking for the humor in life, you will find it. And you'll stop asking, why me? And start recognizing that life, it happens to all of us. Go ahead and come to lift your head up. Just as a transition, lower to your belly, rest your hands directly underneath your shoulders, big hands. Rise up onto your hands and your knees. Tuck toes, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Now with your left leg lifted, breathe in. Step your foot all the way through in between your hands, back to your lifted, breathe out. Arms up, crescent lunge, inhale. Bring your hands to your heart, exhale. Straighten your front leg, reach up, inhale. This time bend the front knee, hinge at your hips, prayer twist to your left. Hook your elbow to the outer of your knee. Every time you breathe in, you're creating length, and every time you breathe out, you're rotating. Your neck is comfortable for your body. Now stay here and just open your arms out like wings. Take a full breath in. You can dip the left hand down, pivot your right foot, warrior 2, right arm back, left arm forward. So I'm gonna continue to face in this direction so I don't confuse you. Left knee is forward, aiming to the second, third toe. Right hamstring and glute are reaching back, so there's that opposition. Now reach forward so there's length on your left side, left forearm to the thigh, right arm over your head. Rotate your chest up. Length is maintained on your left side, and if your forearm rests to thigh, spaces between your ear and shoulder. Now you're going to straighten your leg, bring your arms out as a T, turn your left toes in, palms join, hinge at your hips, and fold all the way forward and down. Now, yogi's choice. If tripod headstands in your practice, this would be that space to take it. You can turn your fingertips to point behind you and crawl your fingers back, bending at the elbows, top of your head comes down. You can open your chest and shoulders by interlacing the fingers at low back and rising your arms up and overhead. Yogi's choice. If you're in a tripod headstand, take a few breaths and then begin to transition your way back into the standing wide-legged straddle. And then as you're going to bring your hands back to the ground, tenting up fingertips, wrist under shoulders, halfway lift. Walk to the top of your mat to your left foot. Pop up your back heel. Lightly release your right knee down. Toe heel your foot out to the left. Both hands rest to the inside of the foot. Take some pressure off that right knee by sliding it back. Now you're at home. If you have any props, blankets that you want to place underneath, a towel underneath the right knee, you can do so. Come to rock left to right, collapsing your knee over to the left as you come to the knife edge of your left foot. Now, coming to the center, right hand comes to the top right corner of the mat, left hand comes to the inside of the leg, pull from your waist and then rotate your chest up as you look back. And then go ahead and bring your hand down, plant your foot down, core active. Come to hands and knees. Come to walk your hands all the way in. So you'll sit up to stack shoulders over hips. Shift your weight to a side and then swing your legs forward in front of you. Come to scoot forward. Lie all the way down onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest and rock side to side, left to right. Now, as you're going to position your feet to the floor, hip distance apart, brushing your heels with your fingertips, we're going to come into half pigeon on the back. Rise your right leg up towards the ceiling, bend in your knee, and bring your right ankle on top of your left thigh bone. So for some of you, you can just keep your arms by sides, and this might be enough. You can, with your right hand, press your knee away from you towards the top right corner of your mat. If you want to feel more sensation in your body, you'll bring your left knee in, lift in your shoulders. Your right hand comes into the hole, left hand to the outer of your thigh. You can interlace your fingers behind your thigh. Some practitioners interlace to shin, but you want to release your shoulders down and slightly dip your chin in towards your chest. Now for those that have the left knee hugged into chest, release. We're going to come into twisted roots. So you'll open your arms up to a shape of a T, and you'll cross your right leg all the way over the left leg. It's as if as a woman, she'd be wearing a dress and she'd cross her legs. That's what we're doing now. Now, in twisted roots, you want to shift your hips slightly right, and then let your knees fall over to the left as you look to your right. Now, if this is too much for your body, just release the bound legs and let your knees and your feet stack as you look over to your right. Now, as you're going to come through to the center, you may have to shift your hips to center. Go ahead and plant your feet to ground, hip distance. Establish your arms by your side, scooting your hips and heels in. Left leg lifts. Bend in the knee to bring your ankle on top of your thigh bone. And then find your half pigeon on this side that works for this hip. Once you can see life in its wider perspective, once you're able to see your role with some degree of humility, and once you're able to laugh at yourself, then we come to the fourth and the final quality of the mind, which is the ability to accept life, your life, and all of its pain, imperfection, and beauty. And if you have your right knee into the chest, release. Open the arms out as a T, twisted roots, cross your leg over, shift your hips left first, and then let your knees fall all the way over to the right. Option to stay or option to stack your knees and feet. The Archbishop, he says, we're meant to live in joy. This does not mean, he says, that life will be easy or painless. It means that you can turn your face to the wind and accept that this is the storm that you must pass through. We cannot succeed by denying what exists. The acceptance of reality is the only place from which change can begin. Go ahead and come through to the center with your knees. You may have to shift to center. Begin to stretch your legs long. You might bring your arms a little bit more closer into the midline. Palms are going to turn to face up. As you allow your feet to relax, allowing them to splay out to the sides as an ankle rests to each corner. Adjust your body so that you feel comfortable to feel the support of the solid ground beneath you. And allow yourself to practice acceptance, to surrender. Let go of your conscious breath, allowing your mind to rest to the back of your skull. It's said that acceptance is the sword that cuts through all of resistance, allowing you to relax, to see clearly, and respond appropriately. Allow this to be a meditative practice as you lie here. Meditative practices allow you to quiet the distracting thoughts and feelings so that you can perceive reality and respond to it more skillfully. Rest your eyes right in between your eyebrows. This internal gaze. Begin to open and close the eyes several times. Aware of your environment while you rest here as awareness. Come into a full body stretch. Reach your arms back, let your thighs come together, pointing your toes forward. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Bring your knees into the chest or feet to ground. Roll to a side fetal position. And then come to press yourself all the way up into a comfortable seat, an easy cross-legged. Let your palms come to face down. Close your eyes. There's 4 pillars of joy, qualities of the mind. They are perspective, humility, humor, and acceptance. Let your arms come to dangle by your side. Circle your arms over your head. Bring your palms down through your midline to your heart. A silent Om to yourself. Breathe in. From my heart to your heart, we bring our thumbs to forehead and we'll bow together and say, Namaste.